Well, I came back from a house call today. I was in Boston looking at some things, and there was an email from Grogan and Company. Apparently, they have a sale coming up. It looks like a heck of a good sale of carpets and textiles on the 15th and the 16th of this month, about 3 days from now. So you do have time to do it. Go to the Grogan website and take a look at it. You can also see it on Live Auctioneers, but you save money as always if you bid through the auctioneer's site. And there's some great rugs on here. As you know, I love carpets and textiles. I have been a fan of them for a long time. And Grogan's has a long history of handling great carpets. And this is one of those cases. There's it's in two parts. The first day is focused heavily on really fine Caucasian rugs, some very good Persian rugs, and so forth. Some fine kilims, and then and also some tapestries, some Flemish tapestries, which are rather interesting. And we'll look at one of those. And then the second day is tribal weavings, bag faces, saddlebags, and other rugs and carpets, of course. And all of them from the beginning to the end of the sale. All the carpets are pretty much early 20th century and pre 1900. Many of them are from the 19th century. There's some really rare rugs in here, and I want to run through them for those of you that are of interest, have an interest in this kind of stuff. Stick around; you're going to enjoy this. It's a beautiful material. There's also some good Chinese examples in here, and some very fine Central Asian examples. Some great Central Asian rugs and carpets, textiles. There's some shawls. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. All right. And this is the first day. It starts in 2 days and 17 hours. We're going to get through this so you can get over there and look around a little bit. You have things like this in the sale. A really nice early. This is a very early rug, circa 1800. And remember, rugs don't last anywhere near. Finding a rug from 1800 is very unusual because rugs were meant to be used and they were walked on and they barely last a generation if they have any sort of traffic. And that's the end of them. But some rugs survived. This rug did. And this is a really lovely example. And on Grogan's site, they have a neat feature. They have this magnifier that you can use to really examine the ground of the carpet. And this is a very early rug. For Caucasian. It's got this lovely floral lattice pattern on it, very deep, rich blues. There's the center of the rug, of course, is in a soft, almost saffron yellow. It measures 8 feet long by 4 feet 6 inches wide. It's estimated at $5,000 to $8,000 as a $2,500 opening bid. These are great rugs. These are not the standard rugs you find in the typical rug store. These are art forms. All right. So these kinds of rugs you can hang on a wall, and many people do. You go to Europe, you see people hanging rugs on walls all the time. And they're also terrific on tables. I will say that I like the old European method of putting rugs on tables. We do it ourselves around here. But anyway, this is a very attractive carpet. Again, $5,000 to $8,000 estimate, $2,500 starting bid. All right, and then over to this, you have something. This is a very rare rug. It's a Perpedil prayer rug, but very unusual patterns. And again, you'll notice with these older rugs, this one dates to 1875, which is an old one. You'll notice how crisp the colors are. The colors are very crisp, very clean, because they're all natural dyes. These are all vegetable dye rugs. There are no synthetic dyes in these carpets. These are absolutely wonderful. And you notice the quality of the weave, very tight, very refined, and quite excellent. And here are the horn motif that you often see on Perpedils. And this is a very unusual pattern, though. The layout on this rug is extremely interesting, and I think it's quite terrific. It's 3'7" by 4'8". This would be wonderful to hang on a wall. It's got a good estimate on it, $8,000 to $12,000. This is not for the amateur rug. This is for the serious rug and textile buyer. These are the kind of rugs that institutions buy. It's a great looking rug, though. If you want something fabulous for the year, you're going to want to look at some of these. And then over to this, a really fine Anatolian rug. Anatolian rugs are very spectacular in their coloring. This is an early one, though. It's 17th century, which was the 1600s. And if you love antique textiles, this is a rug to look at. It's got a wonderful, wonderful design. I love the central medallion in it, and so forth. It does have wear in it. You're going to see some wear on this. That's completely normal. And then you have these wonderful tree motifs at the top, and then all of these serrated edged curled leaf patterns down the side, and so forth. This is a beautiful, beautiful textile, and it is 4 foot 4 inches by 6 foot 8 inches. So again, it's like a large scatter rug. Again, this is the kind of rug you buy to put on a wall. And then you have these beautiful pair of Ningxia pillar rugs, and these are beautifully done, and they're nice yellow ground. They date to about 1850, so the end of the Daoguan period, and Daoguan to Tongxi period, but wonderfully done, and they look like they're in great condition, as far as I can see. They look like to be in very, very fine condition. The dragons, I love them. And then you have the Buddhist beads at the top, the Ruyi heads running across, and so forth. And it's a pair, and it is a true pair. Obviously, you can tell by the way the weavings work together from these two panels. And these are pretty good size. These measure, what's the dimensions on these? These measure 7 feet long by 1 foot 9 inches wide. So these are fairly large. They'd be great hanging on a wall. It's artwork, and hang them together. They'd be great. They're estimated at $15,000 to $20,000 with a $7,500 opening bid. All right. Like I said, these are serious rugs. But they're great. And then you have this really nice Ningxia dragon rug. It's from about 1800. It measures 4'3" by 7'2", so it's a pretty good size rug. Beautifully done. They're the double dragons in the center. Here they are. You might be able to see them better if I do it this way. There you go. There you can see the dragons in the center. And you have the floral motifs. Some of these motifs you see on porcelains and other art forms as well, of course. And then you have this outlined sort of Greek key border running down the sides and so forth. It's a beautiful carpet, but it dates to about 1800. So it's a Jiajing period, late Qianlong period, somewhere in there. And again, hard to find a rug like this, and this one doesn't have much wear to it at all, from what I can see. It probably has what they refer to as a low, even pile, which is normal on these rugs. It is estimated at just $4,000 to $6,000, which seems very reasonable to me. That seems low. I think it'll probably go over that. It is 4'3" by 7'2". Beautiful carpet, though. If you've wanted a great Chinese rug, and you want to spend a little bit of money to get it, this is a good rug to get. It's a wonderful size, and it's in great condition, and the colors are terrific. Very, very subtle, very elegant, and beautifully done. All right, and then hopping along over to this. I love this. This is very nice. It's a Farahhan Seruk Tree of Life rug. Persian, circa 1900. It looks a little older than that to me. Some of the oranges and yellows look a bit older, but Michael and the crew in there, they're rug hounds. So I'll go with the dating. They're saying around 1900, could be 1890s, but beautiful colors. Notice the richness of the color palette on these rugs. These Farahhan Seruks had spectacular dye qualities. It measures 4'3" by 6'9", and it's estimated at just $3,000 to $5,000. But I think it's a wonderful rug. If you're a first-time rug buyer, and notice at the top, it still has its braided ends are still intact, so it hasn't eaten into the rug in any way. This rug doesn't look like it's ever been really walked on, to be perfectly frank. Sometimes you come across Persian rugs that were acquired by a family for whatever reason, traveling in the Far East. The great-great-grandfather was over there. They brought the rugs home. They rolled them up. They put them in a closet. And they never put them on a floor. And they kept thinking, well, someday we'll use it. And they never get around to it. And you occasionally, we've seen it in here in New England in particular, over the years. You get into an old Yankee house, and you go into a closet, and suddenly, boom, you got this spectacular rug that's just been sitting there since Grandma was around. And everybody will say, oh, yeah, the rug, yeah, we never used it. And that's often how rugs like this turn up, because to be roughly 120 years old and look as good as this is very unusual, but very good colors, wonderful colors. And then you have this beautiful Salor 16 goal Shawwal saddlebag, of course, Central Asian Turkmenistan, made around 1800 or earlier. This could have been made in the 1760s or 70s even. But there's a beautiful design, very precise, very strong decoration on these. These are Central Asian, of course, and the Salor tribes are sort of the whole of in the rug world, in the textile world, the Turkmen world. These are the holy grails, so the the Salor pieces. The Tekis are good, the Asaris are good, all of them are good, but the Salors are sort of in a group by themselves. And this is a wonderful example. It has low even pile. I don't see any damage or any apologies to make for it. For a piece this old, that's quite a feat. It measures 3 by 4 foot 5 inches. It's estimated at $30,000 to $50,000 with a $15,000 opening bid. But remember, we've seen Salor rugs sell in other places and at Michael's, at Grogan's in the past, where they have brought that kind of money. And if you're a Salor collector, get a hold of them, speak to Georgina or whoever's there and say, tell me more about this bag. It's a great one. And then over to this, a Bashir, Middle Amudaya region prayer rug. This is another good Central Asian rug. And these Bashir examples are pretty rare. And this one is in fabulous condition. If you look at it, it's got this wonderful tulip pattern going up the sides, nice geometric designs in the sides, along with some floral elements. And then you have more trees going up the middle. And this is a really, really pretty rug. Very pretty. The use of the yellow on this rug, I think, was particularly successful. It really punctuates and frames the rug. And I think it worked out really, really well. It's 3'9" by 5'11", estimated at $5,000 to $10,000, $2,500 opening bid. It's got a bid on it already of $2,500. It'll get there. This is a rare bird. If you like to own things that are rare, this is another rare one. All the rugs on the sale are actually pretty rare. I should just keep picking out one. All right, and then you have a couple of these Chinese square rugs. These are neat. 1850s. They measure 2'3" by 2'4" apiece, and in the center you have the twin phoenixes. The other rug had the double dragons. This one is the twin phoenixes, which of course are the symbol of the Empress of China. The phoenix is for the Empress. The dragon is for the emperor. And this is a very nice example. It's got a good deep cobalt lattice running around the outside, a nice camel ground and so forth. And you'll notice these sort of dragon head figures on the ends of these lattices. They're like dragon heads framing it, sort of protecting the empress. But this is a nice early one. They're dating it to about 1850. This could be a little older. This could be from the 1820s. The colors on these look awfully good. And again, 2'3" by 2'4", estimated at $5,000 to $7,000 for the pair, $2,500 opening bid. Chinese. This is a sort of a blossoming area of in the Chinese art world are carpets. For a long time, carpets were collected fairly heavily by Westerners, not so much necessarily by Chinese folks. And I think Chinese collectors are starting to lock onto these. And there's always been interest in them. Don't get me wrong. There's always been interest in great Chinese rugs. But I think that it seems to be getting a little stronger. These are wonderful, and they'd be great on a wall. They'd look like paintings. All right, and then there's also a Persian Kazak, Caucasian rug, 1870s. Again, you have these wonderful crisp colors, beautiful reds, ivories, bits of yellows here on this tree device going up, and this nice dogtooth border going around the outside. It's got all the elements that you expect to see in a Caucasian rug, and it's quite lovely. These are very strong rugs, very, very powerful visually. All right, and it measures 5 by 7 feet, estimated at $4,000 to $6,000 with a $2,000 opening bid, made around 1875. All right, and again, you have another one. This is a little bit earlier. This one is from 1850. This is a Pinwheel Kazak. These have been heavily collected and of great interest to rug collectors for many, many, many decades. And this is a particularly nice one. It's 7 feet by 6 feet. It's wonderful. This is a rug, again, that you can hang on a wall in a room. It's got some nice, what's known as arbrash, which is just shifts in colors due to changes in dye lots in the wool when they're weaving the rug. And you have this beautiful teal blue, which is quite lovely. And you don't see this blue, this teal color, too much on later Caucasian rugs. But you see it a lot on the earlier ones, and then you have these very powerful blue areas here with these sort of curved linear devices coming off of them. There's a lot going on. This is a very, very nice carpet, and again, it's 6 by 7'2", estimated at $20,000 to $30,000. It's already got 3 bids. Pinwheel Kazaks tend to do very well. The reason they do well is that there's always interest in them. So if you want to learn about, you want to get into Caucasian rugs, that's a great starter piece. And then over here, another piece of, there's a lot of Turkmen stuff in this sale. I should point that out. If you're a Turkmen collector, I know some of you are, you go to the sale and check it out. There's some great Turkmen pieces in here. And all of them are early ones from what I can see. All of them are circa mid to late 19th century and earlier, going back to about 1800. There's some awfully good examples. This is a very unusual Torba by the Turkmen tribe. Notice this sort of skeletonized secondary motifs here. When you look at it, these motifs here typically have colors in them. They're filled in. This one, they did sort of a skeletonized, almost a geometric pattern. It's very modern looking, which I find sort of interesting. There's a very modernistic look to it. And this is a very old bag. This is a nice old piece. Again, early 19th century, so 1810, 1820, somewhere around there. It measures 4'2" by 1'8", but the pile is in great condition. If you use the magnifier and take a look at this, you'll see that the pile itself is very velvety, very, very much intact. And these are always, of course, these Turkmen pieces, the tekis and the salors in particular, are particularly tightly woven. So they have a very velvety texture when you run your hand over them. And when they make them, they cut them down after they're woven. They shear the rug to get the pile nice and even. And these tend to have fairly short piles on them because they're meant to highlight the design, the pattern on the rug. They want this pattern to really, really stand out. It's a tribal pattern. And that's how they achieve that. Anyway, $2,500. It's got a bid already. $5,000 to $10,000 estimate. And then over to this, there's some Flemish there's a couple of Flemish tapestry fragments in here. And this is a really neat one. This is one of King David. It's a biblical motif. And in Holland in the 16th and 17th century, biblical depictions were extremely popular in Flemish art, not only just on tapestries, but also on paintings and so forth. And you'll find them in lots of museums and all that. And here's one of David in the tower looking out with blossoming, looks like peaches overhead in the scene. And it's very, very three-dimensional, the way this was woven. This is a very fine tapestry. There it is. Beautifully done, wonderful deep cobalt. You'll notice the cobalt, the cobalt blue dyes in wool and in silks tends not to fade. It's one of those dyes that doesn't shift hardly at all. You see it on Chinese rugs all the time, where you'll have a Chinese rug with some blue on it, and you flip it over and you can see other colors on the back. You flip it over to the front, you don't see that. The colors don't look as strong because the cobalt doesn't fade. All right, the blue that they used that they used in the old days, no matter where, whether it's in Asia or in Europe, if it's derived from cobalt, the color is very fast, and even in sunlight, it doesn't change much. And here you have one. This one, they're dating it to the 17th century, probably around 1640, I would guess, judging by the way it's executed. It's very finely woven. Flemish tapestries are very finely woven typically, and this one is 3'8" by 4'3", estimated at $3,000 to $5,000. It has a $1,500 bid, and again, it's like a painting, but it's got and it says David right on it, which is really interesting. Right there, David, and he was a very, very popular aspect to Flemish paintings, as I said, especially between the 15th and the late 1600s. All right, and then hopping along over to this very nice Serapi rug. This is a Serapi, but it has a lot of the aspects, design aspects that you expect to see on Bakhtiari rugs and so forth. Here it is, soft colors. And this is a 4x6. Most Serapis that you see are room size, or they're at least 8x10 or 12x14, this sort of thing. This is a small one. It's a great looking rug. It has very, very soft colors. It measures 4'8" by 6 feet. It's a wonderful size, and the pile on the rug looks quite good. It's got a couple of low spots in the middle, which is to be expected because this is an early one. This is a very early one. But the colors on this are beautiful, very soft. This is what a lot of people go after, and they're dating it to about 1875, and it could even be a little bit older. It's 4'8" by 6 feet. Has $2,000 to $3,000 estimate with a $1,500 opening bid. It already has 5 bids. It'll give you some idea how much people want these kinds of rugs. It's a great rug. It's a great looking little rug. All right, and then day 2. That was just day 1. This is day 2, and in here you're going to see a lot of saddlebags, tribal weavings. If you're a bag face collector or you like small rugs, this is a particularly interesting sale. There's lots of sumacs in here. You're going to find some Hariz mats, very small, but lots of sumacs, Dagestan, Caucasian bags, and so forth. You have this very nice South Persian bag right here, dated to about 1900. Beautiful colors. $2,000 to $3,000 estimate, and so forth. We're going to pop through a few of these. There's this one. I like this one in particular a lot. He's dating it to about 1900, South Persian, but very interesting, very unusual. This is the pattern in the middle here is one you often see on Qashqai rugs, and I don't think this is a Qashqai bag. They didn't say it was, so it may be one of those rugs where it's a little bit of an enigma of what it is. You could ask them. You could ask Georgina or Michael or whoever's there or Hercules and say, what's the deal with this? What do you think it is? Because they're just calling it South Persian. And they know rugs in there very, very well. So there may be something about it that left them a little bit indecisive. But the pattern on the rug is beautiful. And there are the closure loops at the bottom. This is a complete saddlebag. It's got the back. It's got the front. It's got all of the braided closure loops across the bottom. And if you like authentic tribal things and you like complete tribal things, this is the whole deal right here. Wonderfully done, great colors, very finely woven. The wool on these is extremely soft, typically fairly short pile. These aren't long, fluffy rugs. These are fairly tightly woven, but this one looks to be in pristine condition. And the estimate's $1,000 to $1,500 with a $500 opening bid. Very reasonable. It's a good bag. And here's another one. This is a Yomut Shawal with 9 gulls. And again, circa, 1850 and so forth. Beautifully done, beautiful colors. Yomut tribe was like the Salor. There was the Salor tribe, the Seruk tribe, the Teki tribes, and lately they've really gotten into sort of subdividing the tribes and sub-tribes of the tribes. And some of the scholars on it, I think, have gone a little bit wild into the weeds. But anyway, there are differences. So they are onto something. But anyway, I tend to just look at these as just straight up Yomut tribe bags. It's a very nice one. $1,500 to $2,500 with a $1,000 opening bid. And it's got some very nice color. It's got a very lovely blue in it. It's well spaced too. That's the other thing. The layout on this Yomut bag is particularly well done. So again, you might want to have a look at that. And then there's this, a very nice Kazak rug with these floating medallions going all through it here. And it's some in purple, which is a very unusual color to see. Very nice outer border, soft cream, ivory ground with geometric floral devices and so forth. This is a very fine rug. It's a very, very lovely carpet. And this doesn't have a particularly huge estimate. I don't know why. I think it's a heck of a nice rug. And it looks like it's in beautiful condition all the way down. And then there's, notice again, you have this very nice sort of soft, not quite teal, but getting there. Thing on it. The ends look quite complete from what I can see. They're dating it to about 1900. $2,000 to $3,000 estimate with a $1,000 opening bid. It's already got a bid on it. We'll see how that goes. But if you want a great looking a rug in the 4 foot by 8 foot long, this is a much bigger rug than it looks. It's 4 by 8 feet. but beautiful. You have a wide hallway, it would be spectacular. And then you have this, a Caucasian Mafrash panel, small rug, but very interesting looking. It almost looks contemporary, which is really interesting to me. It's got this beautiful blue ground with lots of color shifts in it, little bits of light and dark blues, which makes it look very much like water, very aquatic looking. And then you have these floating floral flower devices all through it. And then around the side, you have this very nice, this very beautiful yellow. The Caucasians rugs, when they did a yellow, it was a very soft, very warm, very elegant color. And this is an example of it. It measures 1'8" by 3 feet. And again, it looks like it's in wonderful condition overall. I don't see any low spots to speak of. I'm just checking the edges to see if there's any place where it's been, severely damaged in any way, and I don't really see it. There may be a couple of loose threads on this, but this looks like a good one. And it's estimated at $2,000 to $3,000, $1,000 opening bid. It's already got an opening bid on it. This is a nice rug, and I like the bird motifs going around the outside, the parade of birds going around it. Some of them look like trees. These are, well, no, those are birds. Anyway, I thought for a minute they shifted it to look like a tree, but this is quite nice. There's one that looks a little more like a tree. They didn't put the end on it, but I think these are supposed to be birds. This one, I guess, didn't get a beak. All right, and then moving over to this, another Chinese rug, beautiful saddle rug. Now, this is an early one. Again, Qianlong to Caixing period, but I was looking at this earlier. And the pile on it seems quite remarkable. There's the center where it rests on the animal, on the horse. The saddle goes over it, of course, to pad it. The saddles were fairly coarse and it could hurt the back of a horse back then. Some of them were made of wood, so they wove these very nice rugs to go on there to soften the saddle so the animal wouldn't suffer. Because the health of the animal was very, very important. And this one has a lovely cracked ice pattern around the outside, and then on the interior border you've got bats and so forth, and then in the middle you have a Shao character circling auspicious bats, and then floating floral devices, more Shao characters and so forth, and it looks to be in great shape. Overall, you're going to have a dark area in the middle because all that means is this actually was used on a horse at some point. It actually got used, which is quite interesting because often they weren't used. The ones that you see from the early 20th century, many of them were just woven, taken off the loom, and shipped to the West, and they were sold, or they went into somebody's collection over there. And this was one that was used in the culture, which makes, in the tribal art world, makes it a lot more interesting. That somebody actually had this on his horse. It's estimated at $2,000 to $3,000 with a $1,000 opening bid. And then lastly, we're going to talk about this Karatchoph Kazak, another wonderful example. Again, you've got very good colors, strong, crisp colors and contrast with these blue dog teeth border and outlined in red, and then on a very, very white wool ground. And here you have that soft yellow again going down the side with some geometric devices, and then another dog tooth border reversed out with reds and whites instead of blue and white. It's red and white, and so forth. This is a wonderful looking rug. There it is. And this is a pretty good size rug. This rug measures 5 by 7'10" inches, 5'5" by 7'10". So this is a good size rug, and it's early. It's 1875. It's a nice old rug. Treat it well if you buy it. But these are all quite good. There's other carpets in here. There's also some Peruvian textiles. If you're a Peruvian textile, you have an interest in that part of the world, and there are other textiles as well. So do check it out. Like I said, the sale is on the 15th and the 16th of this month, coming up in 3 or 4 days. All right, there it is. Starting each day at 11 o'clock. All right, and you can go to Grogan's and look at it, register over there, go to Live Auctioneers and so forth, and buy yourself a nice rug to start the year. Why not? Because there's not a lot else going on. There's not a lot of Chinese sales coming up. There's a few coming up in February that we've been talking about, and they are starting to come in. But there's some other things going on in the art world, and one of them is this very nice rug sale. We've talked about the other rug sales that are coming up as well. Get interested in these things. They are spectacular, and as far as monetary things go, I think they're insanely undervalued for what they are, and that's just my view of it. All right, have a great rest of your week, and do check out the sale. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't, and on we go. All right, bye-bye.